We back, baby, with another reflection on the Daily Vedantic. And today's episode is a question from the community. We have Sarah A. who says, how do I live Vedanta in daily life? So how do I live a Vedantic daily life? Not just intellectually, but when someone cuts me off in traffic or when I feel jealous or angry. Great question, Sarah. Great question. How do we live a philosophical daily life? Philosophy, and this starts with our modern and massively significant misconception around philosophy. Especially here in the West, where we think philosophy is this academic, irrelevant, interesting, but largely irrelevant topic to our daily lives. Where we think it's a topic that's so relevant and fascinating for the big questions, but maybe not in brushing our teeth. We rarely think philosophy would be relevant to how we brush our teeth or how we make our bed. But this philosophy would say, you know what? Maybe it's actually quite relevant. This philosophy is actually often called the practical philosophy because there's 97% of it is just so practical within our daily lives. And Sarah, you actually touched on it when you used the word intellectual. This philosophy outlines that we have, and I imagine if you're writing in a question, you've probably heard me mention this on different episodes, that this philosophy, perhaps the central practical contribution to our daily lives, is this. That this philosophy says we have two inner equipments. We have an outer equipment as this body, this equipment that navigates the world physically, but then we have two inner equipments, a mind and an intellect. The mind is our feelings, our emotions, that is our likes, our dislikes. The intellect is what guides the mind. It is our capacity to discern. The intellect is also often defined as the capacity to see the end in the beginning. Can you see how that preference for sugar is going to play out over time? Preference for alcohol is going to play out over time. The choice to have a fifth or sixth drink, how's it going to play out over the next 12, 18 hours? Especially if maybe you got to drive home. That's the capacity to see the end in the beginning. That is your power of discernment. That is the intellect. In the West, we kind of mix the two, but we still use phrases like mindset, or frame of mind. We just don't get very explicit in the West on what sets the mind. And Advaita Vedanta gets very explicit by saying the intellect sets the mind. So how do you live a Vedantic daily life? What is one way that you could cultivate a practical contribution from this philosophy in your daily life? Well, one way is just by listening, hearing, reflecting on the fact that we have an intellect and a mind. An intellect and a mind. Repetition is power. And I had to hear this probably 1,000 times before it really clicked. An intellect and a mind. Even modern psychology is catching up, where it has what's called dual systems thinking in the last few years that acknowledges, all right, we used to talk about or think about the mind as this monologue, as one voice. Even though culturally we talk about, the two devils on your shoulder, the devil and the angel on your shoulder, the dialogue, inner dialogue. Now it's, even from the psychological academic perspective, it's starting to be recognized that, maybe it isn't a monologue in our heads. There is a dialogue. There's two voices. What should I do? What shouldn't I do? What's the right thing to do in this scenario? What's the base, lower thing to do? What's the higher-minded thing to do? What is the high road, the low road? All of these things point to our base level appetites, our likes, our dislikes, our pursuit perhaps of comfort, our aversion of discomfort, and something higher that could oversee that and say, you know what, we're actually going to do something uncomfortable in the moment right now because it's going to be better for us in the long term. And that is the intellect. Mind and an intellect. So when someone cuts you off in traffic, something that's very helpful is recognizing, oh, my mind is really pissed off right now. You might even say out loud, that mother effer. You can feel that emotion, but get a little elbow room from it. A overview of that emotion and say, oh yeah, my mind is really pissed off. It's feeling a lot of emotion right now. But I'm not my mind. I'm not my feelings. I'm not my thoughts. My intellect, that intellect gives you that balcony of perception to look down and say, wow, my mind is going kind of crazy. In the same way that you stub your toe and you feel it, but you also recognize you're more than just your toe. Clip off a fingernail and it goes from being part of you to not being part of you. You can disidentify with a clipped fingernail. And if you can disidentify with a clipped fingernail, you can also disidentify with a rampant emotional thought. Does it happen the first time you hear this kind of practical advice or philosophical approach? No. It might take a handful of reflections on, okay, there's something beyond just the mind, and I am not my mind. I could actually jump to the balcony of this higher, subtler equipment, the intellect, and watch the mind do its thing. This also works with the other examples you gave, feeling jealousy or angry. Oh, wow, my mind is really angry. My mind is really jealous. Is your body jealous? No. Is your intellect jealous? Not if it's observing that jealousy. Whatever you're observing is not you. Obviously, the subject, if it has the capacity to observe something, then the subject stands apart from what it is observing. That is pure logic. If you are observing something, jealousy or a sunset, pain in your right shin, whatever it is, anything and everything in between, the subject cannot be what it is observing. So you are not your thoughts, your perceptions, that pain you feel in your shin or that pain you feel in your mind when it comes to jealousy. And when it does come to jealousy and anger. Any agitation, any mental agitation at all, something that's very helpful, practical within this philosophy is, what is the cause? Selfishness. Remove selfishness, you would not be jealous. Remove selfishness, you would not be angry. Remove selfishness, and this philosophy says, man minus selfishness is God. It is pure divinity when we remove selfishness. Add in selfishness, and we're human. We are prone to get angry, prone to get jealous, prone to be agitated. If there is selfishness in the equation, we will get agitated, jealous, angry, because wherever there is agitation, any type of mental agitation, from sadness to stress to jealousy to anger, take it or leave it. I'm not saying this is something you have to believe. Nothing that is said on this podcast or any podcast, written in any scriptural text, said in any philosophical or mundane conversation, nothing should be taken without it passing through your own reason and judgment. But I'll speak from my experience and from what this philosophy says that maps so perfectly to this experience. When I'm feeling agitation, it's because selfishness is at the core. Jealous? Why did they get a promotion? I wanted that. Anger? Why did they cut me off? I didn't want to feel scared there for those 10 seconds. I wanted to feel safe while I'm driving. I didn't want to feel disrespected and scared in that moment. I'm so stressed. I'm so overwhelmed. I yelled at my 3-year-old because I selfishly didn't want to be late for that appointment to drop them off. I selfishly didn't want to get a side eye from the teacher from getting there late to school for the 5th time this month. I selfishly didn't want them to be so. I selfishly just wanted it to be simple and easy to get into the car, whatever it is. And truly, whatever it is, selfishness is at the core. It is mind-numbingly simplifying to know that at the core of any of our agitation is selfishness. And then to do the diagnosis of, oh, it's not that person that cut me off. It's not the tantrum from the 3-year-old. It's not the lack of the promotion. It's the selfishness that is causing this unrest within me. If you want harmony in life and in any relationship, in any scenario, remove the selfishness and you've got it. Swami will say this pretty often in different lectures, that the harmony between two individuals depends on one thing, and it's within your control. One person being unselfish. The harmony between any two individuals depends on one thing, just one of those two individuals being unselfish. Sure, let's go to that place for dinner. Oh, you have that seat. Oh, we can order whatever you want. Oh, yeah, you want to go there afterwards? That harmony in life, on that date, and anything and everything in between comes down to unselfishness. That disharmony, that agitation, getting cut off in traffic, getting angry, that is highlighting the presence of selfishness. Just knowing those two things, mind and intellect, and then you have a capacity and equipment beyond just our thoughts, our feelings, our likes and our dislikes, and then also the fact that at the heart of any mental agitation whatsoever is selfishness. And the diagnosis isn't the circumstance, isn't what the other person did. It is a recognition of, wow, yeah, maybe there's 200% responsibility to go around. They did something wrong, but I also am really selfish about wanting this or that certain thing to happen for me, selfishly for me. And it's not going the way that I want it to. Maybe if I let go of that selfish desire, maybe harmony will return. Instead of trying, as Ramana Maharshi said, you can try to burlap the world or just wear sandals. Maybe instead of trying to get everything right out there, just the way you like it, maybe you lose a bit of your selfishness each day. Emptying that selfishness each day and watching harmony rush in. That is today's reflection on the Daily Vedantic. And Sarah, thank you for the question.